nothing changes.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome into my channel. And I've got a lot of messages and posts in the group about from new sellers and some experienced sellers about returns on eBay. And apparently they have been up a little bit since everything that's going on is going on. Not really sure why the returns would be higher. Maybe it's because a lot of people buying stuff that they bought before they lost their job and now they realize money's running out and so they need to get an item back and get money back. I don't know. It's also creating kind of a problem with people doing that who don't know return policies, lying in order to get returns, either false item not as described, INADs, INADs, if you ever see that, you don't know what that means, it's item not as described, or just returning things that they maybe bought brand new and they used it, or whatever the case might be, they have gone up. And so I want to give you guys the biggest piece of advice, and a lot of people are going to disagree with this, but before you just immediately disagree, please sit down and do the math and actually think this through, and you'll understand why this makes sense. And so offering returns to somebody is important. Having no returns on is almost worthless and pointless at this point. Amazon doesn't even have the option. If somebody wants to return something, you're going to take it back. And eBay really should not have the no return option. It just doesn't make sense. There are some items that it makes sense for, but pretty much not everything and not most stuff. Free returns is optional. That's up to you. Buyer paying returns is up to you also if you want to make the buyer pay it. But here's the thing. If a buyer opens an item not as described case, do not fight the case. Do not decline it. Do not do any of that. Even if they put in the message, like let's say they bought a brand new pair of shoes and they wore them and then they just want to return them because they didn't fit right or something. Do not fight it because one, eBay may not agree with you, and if you decline that return, they could allow them to send it back anyways. And also a lot of those are going to be auto accepted, auto label provided in the first place. So you have to take it back and you have to pay for the label, item not as described. That means you did something wrong, even if you didn't, because a lot of people lie and they open false INADs. We know that. Also, if you decline it and for some reason eBay does take your side and allow you to decline it, they can open a PayPal case for a chargeback. And that's just going to cost you money and hurt you. And then you're going to end up with the risk of not getting the item back because PayPal just decides to refund them and you don't even get the item back. The best course of action for an INAD, whether it's reasonable, legit, or not legit, take the item back. First of all, when you respond and say, look, go ahead and send it back, I'll give you a full refund when it arrives back here in the same condition it arrived to you in. I'll give you a full refund. If it does not arrive back in the same condition, I won't be able to offer a full refund. 50 to 60% of people, probably more, are not even going to return it at that point. I get at least half of the people don't even return it. Shut down. And of the ones that do return it, most times they lied and there's nothing wrong with the item and I'm just going to resell it and I ate a label. It is what it is. It's a cost of doing business. But the reason that I offer free returns is because free returns versus buyer paid returns is the same when we talk about this. And so I might as well get a 10% discount for offering free returns on my fees. So if I do $5,000 in sales this month with a $500 eBay fee, I get to save 50 bucks this month. 50 bucks right back in my pocket for doing free returns. If one person a month, which is even rare, but if even one person a month lies and I have to pay for the label that's 5 or 10 bucks, I'm still positive because I got $50 in fee discount. Oh, by the way, I get top rated seller plus and a badge and better search. So I probably had more sales, right? Don't fight with them. Get it back. Eat the label. If it's good to go and nothing's wrong with it, resell it and move on. If there is something wrong with it, issue them a 50% refund. You get to keep 50% and then you can still resell it. If they opened a brand new item and it's used now, your 50% refund will be able to get your money back on the 50%, and eBay will credit you up to $6 for that shipping label back. So you did have to pay for it because they opened an item not as described, but eBay will credit you for up to $6. If it was an expensive shipping item, then those are ones, if something's like a big giant tire that's like 60 bucks to ship, maybe those are ones that you don't want to offer that on. But for pretty much everything that most of you are selling, free returns is the way to go. You're going to save way more money in the fee discount and the extra sales than you are fighting with people over dollars to save yourself dimes. Just go ahead and do it, and don't fight item not as described. It's not worth it. Just let it come back. The only way I would suggest that is if they're being blatantly obvious in the messages where they're like, I took your cell phone outside and drove over it with my car and I'm not sending it back. Yeah, go ahead, by all means fight those. But if they just put it up there and they just say, item not as described, doesn't fit like you said, the measurements were wrong, the color wasn't right, just take it back. Take it back. Stop trying to fight. You don't have time and effort, the wasted time. Just get it back, guys. Stop fighting item not as described, or you're going to end up not getting your item back and not getting the money back. And you're going to come in my group in a week and complain that eBay and PayPal screwed you because they let the buyer keep the money and the item and blah, blah, blah. They're scammers. No, you fought an item not as described. You can't even get the option to do that on Amazon. Think that way. I know eBay's not Amazon, but it is e-commerce in 2020. That's just the way it works. If somebody wants to return something, they're gonna return it. Get it back, fight with them later, get the 50% refund discount to them, get the credit, shipping label credit, resell the item. It's much faster and better to do than fighting with one person. I see people fighting over $15 refunds. For gosh sakes, just get it back and refund them and resell it. That's my little speech, my rant, my rave, and my advice to you guys on returns. Trust me, it's important that you handle it this way. So many people are going to disagree in the comments, but I know that most of you understand this. You can do the math, you can figure out why free returns and the discount makes sense, and you can understand why fighting people on item not as described, false or legitimate, is just not worth the time. Okay, enjoy the video, guys. Thank you so much. Hit that thumbs up button if it does help you out. If you didn't know any of that stuff, also hit the thumbs up button, as I love to know that you guys learned something. And make sure that you're subscribed to this channel for future videos. I'll have another one coming a little bit later tonight. And as always, all my links are down below for anything that you may need help with, from the 2020 package, the social media package, combos, and links to my Facebook group, links to the Amazon affiliate store if you need any equipment or supplies, everything you need down below. Thank you as always. I'll see you next time.